Well, that deadline about Line 5 and the state of Michigan ordering it closed, that looms. It is actually tomorrow. Ottawa has said that it was basically non-negotiable, filing in a Michigan court a brief basically arguing that this pipeline needs to keep moving the product through it. Let's bring in the Canadian Minister of Natural Resources, Seamus O'Regan, right now. And Minister, thanks for joining us. Before we get to the legal brief that you filed, I want to get your reaction to what we're seeing now in this letter that apparently the governor of Michigan sent to Enbridge saying, if you do not shut down this pipeline tomorrow, we're basically going to start going after the profits from that line. What is your reaction to this?
I haven't read the letter myself, Greg, so God forbid I should start commenting on that. I mean, I guess I'll note that it's a development, but I don't want to distract from the case at hand. I mean, this is a dispute between Enbridge and Michigan, and what we did today was we filed an amicus brief, which basically means a friend of the court, and we put forward some interest. We demonstrated our interest. We demonstrated some information that we felt would be useful. And, in plain language, what we said was, look, there is a treaty in place, a pipeline transit treaty. And we have a treaty with the U.S. on this. It applies to Line 5. Michigan should not be able to unilaterally close Line 5. We believe that the federal court in the U.S. has jurisdiction here. And also, in the event that mediation fails, and that's where you have Enbridge right now in the state of Michigan, they're in mediation, court-ordered mediation. If that fails, then the federal court should not order Line 5 shut down before Canada and the U.S. have had a chance to work through the matter, through the provisions of that treaty. So that's basically what we've said today. But very important because it is in our national interest and it is an interest of energy security for Canada.
Now, in the sense of wanting action on that, how quickly are you anticipating or hoping that you might get what you want by having filed this brief with the Michigan courts out of the Michigan courts?
As is so often the case, it's up to the judge. The judge has, these parties have met twice already. On the schedule, I believe, is another meeting that they will have before the end of the month. We certainly hope that this is resolved through mediation and that it doesn't drag out any longer. But in the interim, we felt it absolutely necessary that the court know and understand Canada's interests here and have an appreciation for that. And also to acknowledge the Pipeline Transit Treaty of 1977, which is, it's pretty explicit. I mean, it's one of the most plain-spoken pieces of diplomacy that I've ever seen. It just says, look, neither country nor the states or the provinces within those countries should interfere with the operations of a pipeline that's passing through that country en route to the original source country. So that certainly applies here to Line 5, making its way from Alberta and Saskatchewan and then going through Wisconsin and Michigan and making its way up to Ontario and Quebec. So we believe it has significant relevance here.
Now, Minister, I can appreciate you haven't seen the letter. I'm actually reading it right now, and basically, going after what they call the disgorgement of profits from Line 5 if they continue to pump, their product through the pipeline. More broadly, what do you think of the governor's tactics? This is a real 11th hour move on this.
Well, the state of Michigan has, I think they served notice initially of this back in November. We have been watching it, like the hawk, actually, ever since then. We've been working very closely with the provinces of Alberta, Saskatchewan, Ontario, and Quebec. We have been playing the Team Canada card because that approach certainly worked on NAFTA Plus or CUSMA. That is the way to go about these things, especially when something is in the national interest like this. So we need to make sure that the state of Michigan understands that. We need to make sure that that the court that's hearing this, that's mediating this dispute, understands that and understands how much is at stake for Canada.
Earlier today, we had the former Energy Minister of Alberta, Ted Morton, on the show. He suggested to Amanda Lang in their conversation that Washington is not taking us seriously on this file. His assertion was that, I guess, Washington sort of felt that the Trudeau government was on its side generally when it comes to pipeline policy. Well, what would you say to that?
I I would say that there are a lot of things that we have in common with this administration. Certainly if you look at the difference between the Trump administration and the Biden administration on issues of combating climate change, the Prime Minister noted that, we would draw up communiques on his visits with the president, and, the words climate and change had to be extricated from the communique. This is an administration that's saying, look, we want climate change in a 20-point font. They want to tackle this head on. We're certainly we're there with them. We've been working on this for about 4 or 5 years. We have a price on pollution. We have a clean fuel standard. In many respects, we've been working. We're further ahead on a lot of issues when it comes to combating climate change. But certainly, we want to work with them. And listen, I'm one of these people who believes that the windshield is bigger than the rearview mirror. We have a lot more in common and a lot more to do together. Having said that, that puts even more weight on what we did today. It is a clear acknowledgement that Canada is standing up for its interests, especially here, its interests in energy.
I wanted to ask you before we let you go, Minister, apart from the Line 5 pipeline issue, obviously this ransomware cyber attack on the Colonial pipelines created a lot of havoc up the east coast of the United States. A word now of stations running dry. What was your reaction to that, and what are we doing as a country to make sure that our critical energy infrastructure also doesn't fall prey to an attack like this?
My first reaction was actually your second question, was just to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to make sure that our energy infrastructure is safe. And indeed we are. We're working with our partners on that. There's no reason right now for us to believe that our energy infrastructure is vulnerable, but vigilance. It's all about vigilance. And so, certainly it certainly shines a light on the importance of reliable energy.